Welcome back. As some of you guys know, Intrepid Studios held their monthly developer update stream yesterday, which means it's time for some Ashes of Creation news. I know it's usually not a good idea to get too hyped for a game this early on, especially an MMO, but man, it's getting harder and harder to not live in La La Land while thinking about this game, the more gameplay that's revealed to us. In this video, I'm going to give you guys a studio update, talk about some housing and mounts, talk about Alpha 1, go over the new gameplay boss fight, which was pretty awesome, and at the end we'll go over the Q&A quickly, which is something that they did towards the end of their stream. If you guys end up enjoying this video, please subscribe for more Ashes of Creation content. Links to my Twitter and my Discord server will be below. Let's get right into it. Before I show and get into the new gameplay, let's quickly go over some of these new images that we were shown. Right here, you're seeing the creation process for a creature called the Fox of the Pyre. This is the actual in-game model, and as you can tell, it's a mount in the game. This fox has a cosmetic mount skin attached to it, and it looks absolutely phenomenal. I don't think I just speak for myself in saying that the mounts that we've been shown so far are one of the highlights of this game. We also got to see this rhinoceros looking mount, which is called the Noble Warhorn, and it looks pretty scary and epic. This image right here is of troll variants. They're either forest or hill trolls. This looks really good as well. The team is obviously putting a lot of time into attention to detail. Right here are some interesting concept art images for what will ultimately be furniture that you can have in your player housing. This appears to be some sort of bed, and this one is an elven Empyrean chair. Empyrean elves are a playable race in the game. In the bottom right are reference images of real furniture that is used as inspiration for the concept art, which will then be turned into its own in-game model. We were told that there will be a wide array of home decor to really make your home tell its own story and truly be your own. Intrepid wants to have a very diverse selection of furniture for us. This image is showing off some plate armor for the Dunir dwarves. Due to player feedback, Intrepid has stated that they will be working on making the dwarves a bit beefier, more like the classic dwarves that we're used to and less like hobbits. And the last image I'll show here is this really cool looking armor set. At least I think that's what it is. I didn't quite exactly catch what they said during this part. Either way, this looks awesome. Now it's time for the new gameplay footage. All of the players here that you can see on their beautiful mounts are employees of Intrepid Studios, and the guy that we're following is the creative director and owner of the studio, Steven. As you guys can see, they only have 7 players in their party, and they're going to attempt to take on twin bosses in the open world, an encounter that is supposedly meant for 40 players. With immense training, knowledge, and skill from these employees, and also some GM hacks, they're going to show us this really cool twin boss fight. Like I said, Steven does use some behind-the-scenes commands to give him and one of his party members basically immortality, and he even uses the instant die command on both of these bosses to complete the encounter. The intent is just to show us a new encounter without them getting wiped, so keep in mind that when you do this encounter, you'll likely have 39 other party members accompanying you. As always, note that the game is unfinished and just recently entered a pre-Alpha 1 test. As the party works towards this upcoming awesome encounter, let me give you a studio update. The Alpha 1 Pretest 1 ended on December 21st. The next Alpha Pretest will begin February 19th, followed by another one in March. And then the official Alpha 1 will begin April 6th and will last 1 month, and it's not under NDA. Intrepid says that the pre-testing went great. Players offered a lot of great feedback, and the team was hard at work doing hot fixes and fixing reported bugs. From the way it sounds, it was a very successful test, and Intrepid seems to be really proud of themselves. In fact, Steven told us that the company will actually be closing for the holidays on the 23rd, and no one will be coming back until January 4th. That's a nice chunk of time for the team to get some R&R, and it's really great to hear. So far they seem like a really nice company to support, and this is even evident when you hear them speaking to each other. Intrepid's new round of hiring will begin in January, and they'll be taking on 30 new employees. So if you're someone who's got the talent and you're trying to find a job, that might be something that you might want to look into. As the team gets closer to establishing a solid foundation for how things work, much of the work coming after that is just adding a ton of content to the world through quests, more monsters, NPCs, etc. It looks like they're ready to expand to really make them become an MMO machine in 2021. Really exciting stuff. This area that the players are in, which is the area for the alpha test, is a jungle-like tropical biome with a lot of water. Within this area of the map, players will have around 70 square kilometers of playable space. And to put that into context, Skyrim's map was about 37 square kilometers, with about a quarter of it not even being playable. And this is just one part of the Ashes map, located in the northwest. The full Ashes of Creation map should be over 400 square kilometers, which is more than 10 times the size of Skyrim. As you guys can see, it's absolutely beautiful, and of course we get to see another amazing looking flying mount here. The party has now arrived at the twin bosses. One of them is called It Who Sunders the Land, and the other is It Who Sunders the Sky. This game is obviously going with many traditional MMO elements, and the party assigns a tank for each boss. Their goal is to focus down on one while keeping the other one away from the party. There's a lot of different mechanics going on here in this fight. You can see crystals forming on the ground, and then there's little fire pits. The bosses have AoE knockbacks and AoE pull-ins. They can regen health and also take mana away from the party and more. Intrepid Studios' design team for these bosses isn't actually playing with this party, so these Intrepid Studios members are not experts in this encounter. They obviously know more than a new player, but the bosses do create many problems for them, even with the GM hacks. After the encounter is over, Intrepid's lead game designer, Jeff, tells Steven that destroying the crystals would have actually helped them greatly, but he doesn't exactly tell us what it does. Some of you guys might be wondering what the hell these bosses actually are. This is a race known as the Ancients, and without getting too deep into the lore, the Ancients are the primary antagonists who defiled and perverted all of creation. Basically, long ago, the gods wanted to represent their qualities, characteristics, and attributes with the creation of something, and this something is known as the Ancients. Imbuing all of their traits in this race didn't go as planned though, and they became extremely corrupt. The powerful Ancients, alongside a small group of evil gods called the Others, were banished from the material plane, but have since returned to the planet of Vera. These creatures look really badass in the game, and the team seems to be doing a great job representing their vision with them. I'm happy we finally get to see them in action. I've really been waiting a long time to see this. So the fight goes on with the party, and we got to witness some party members die and others get launched across the map like this.
Oh, you did it at the right time. I didn't.
Oh, no!
No!
Don't worry, guys, I got it. I'll solo him. Oh.
Moments like these are what can make great memories in games, and it's great to see them happen. Steven was launched really far, as well as a couple other party members, and it took quite a while for them to get back to the fight. On his way back, he also came across some cool little creatures, not that friendly, known as Tidebreakers. To prevent party members from getting launched like this again, the team changes their strategy a bit and fights one of the bosses up against a large cliff to prevent the knockback. As the boss's HP gets lower, it seems as if its skill rotation speeds up as well, making the fight much more difficult. Throughout the rest of the fight, we watched as players gave each other mana, healed each other, rezzed each other, communicated about aggro, and I kept hearing one of the players remind the clerics to use their whip attack because it regenerates mana and health. There was a lot of communication going on, a little bickering here and there, and a ton of laughing, and of course the celebration after Steven used his GM hacks to murder both bosses.
Wait for it. Okay, well done, everybody! Hey, we did it!
Very well fought.
Wow, you guys did great there.
So overall, it was a fun fight to watch and further increases my high hopes for this game. Obviously, things are still changing and improving, and they also mentioned a combat overhaul revamp, which isn't implemented in the game right now, but should be in the game around the March timeframe. That will definitely be interesting to see how that changes things. And for the last part of this video, we'll go over the answers to the Q&A. Guild invites will be able to be done across the world. You don't have to be close to players that you want to invite. There will be a guild interface UI window where you can type in a player's name to send an invite. You can also use chat windows to recruit. Adding someone as a friend in the game will not add their account. It will be just their character. Intrepid did mention that they may look into a way to also add an account as a friend through their launcher or something of the sorts. Sieges will be node specific. You can go through a quest to obtain a declaration item. That quest is going to be determined by the level of node siege that you're attempting to do. Once you have the item, you may declare against one specific node of that quest line's level or lower. Still on the topic of nodes, we learned that a node's declaration period does not inhibit the node's ability to collect experience. These declaration periods will vary depending on the node's current stage. For example, if it's a metropolis, the declaration period may be 6 days, while a city will be a 5-day declaration period. If you don't understand any of the terminology that I'm using, just stay tuned on the channel for I will cover all of this. Specific races will not have their own combat animations. Most animations will be shared by all who have the skill. However, there will be special racial abilities that key into the class that you choose, and these will have their own racial animations. In organized PvP events, meaning non-open world PvP, such as caravans, node wars, and sieges, there will be no extra death penalties for players, or no death penalty in general. Dying in an organized PvP event of course hurts the team and increases your team's chance for losing at said objective, but there will be no individual penalty like losing gear or gaining corruption in these activities. So you can die 50 times and nothing is going to penalize you, besides maybe your teammates yelling at you. Open world PvP, however, will be different. Individual item stats will vary from weapon to weapon depending on rarity, item ID, and in crafting, who and how a weapon is crafted may determine how the item stats turn out. The level of mastery achieved in a profession will allow for different player agency and more player agency as you become more proficient in determining the stats of armor and weapons. Your racial choice will not determine the unique mount that you will get when you complete your starting mount questline. Each of these starting mounts will correspond to a starting area, which will of course have a specific race that lives there, but you as a player can choose to start in any of the starting areas regardless of your racial choice. So if you choose to be an Empyrean elf, but decide to start in the human area, your starting mount questline will correspond to the human starting area, and it might be a horse. A question was asked in regards to daily login rewards. Intrepid Studios said that there will likely be some type of system that gives a veteran award, but it will be purely cosmetic. This will not be something that you can pay for. It will simply be a system that rewards players who continue to play the game in a minor cosmetic way. Some of these cosmetics will be unique and act like collectibles for players. Intrepid also made it clear that they are open to discussion with the community for how this will work. It'll be something that they'll be thinking about over the next couple months. Nothing is final yet. If you would like to participate in their Q&As, make sure to head over to their forums. And that's basically it for this video. The next developer update will be in January, and we'll definitely be getting a lot of Ashes of Creation content updates throughout the next couple months leading up to Alpha 1, which is going to be when we really get to see a lot of good stuff. What the hell's wrong with my camera? Thanks so much for watching, guys. If you guys ended up enjoying this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It's a huge help to my videos. I do all sorts of content on this channel, ranging from live streams to game reviews to game tutorials to lore videos to class guides and much more. I'd love to have some of you guys back for a future video. Until next time.